Hi friends, welcome back. I know it's been a while. It's been quite a while. We have a lot to catch up on, and I considered doing this in 2 videos, but I think maybe I can just get through this as fast as I can. So hopefully this isn't too long for you. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Rebecca. I am on a GLP-1 journey to better health, and I am also a really bad YouTuber. I haven't updated anything in like a month or so. So let's get to it because this is going to be a little bit long. So last time I left you was actually in December. It was the 16th of December and I was down 50.5 pounds. Yay! Really happy with that. I had lost 2 pounds that week, which I was really happy about because you know, I kind of felt like things might be slowing down. But with the 2 pounds, I'm thinking, no, I'm good. I'm good. And then that week was pretty normal, but it was really busy. It's the week before Christmas and doing last minute shopping and wrapping presents and then having to run out and get more gift bags and getting ready for Christmas and all of that. I did not sit down and do an update, but on the 23rd of December, which was 2 days before Christmas, I got on the scale and this is what it said. I was 197.2, really feeling good. Down 1.3 pounds, which is less than my usual 2 or more pounds a week, around 2 pounds a week, but I'm happy with it. You know, I'm not gonna complain. And I was walking and I was doing all the things, but this was also like my 6-month anniversary. And that meant that I was down 51.8 pounds in 6 months. And I am ecstatic with that. You know, 0.2 of a pound would be 60 pounds, but 51.8 pounds in exactly 6 months. I'm happy with that. And then we had Christmas. And I want to tell you before I tell you what happened at Christmas, we had the most wonderful Christmas. We really did. The kids came over. They come over in the morning and we opened stockings. I know, I have adult children that still want a stocking. But they come over in the morning, we have breakfast, we open up the stockings, and then we exchange our, you know, little family gifts. And then my son-in-law and my daughter stayed the rest of the day. And they, my son-in-law and I just cooked for the rest of the day and got ready for dinner. And then about 3 o'clock, the rest of the family, every year's a little different. Sometimes it's 20 or 30 people show up for dinner. And then we have a giant celebration, a huge Christmas dinner, a ton of presents, lots of desserts. We have a really good time. But what has happened over the past, I don't know, 20 years, because we host most of our big family events here at the house. And most of the time that night or that evening, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, big birthday parties or whatever, my back hurts a lot. And Christmas evening after dinner, it was so bad, I couldn't help clean up the kitchen. Now I want to say that I have wonderful family. Usually there's like 6 or 7 of us in the kitchen, putting away leftovers and taking care of pots and pans, washing dishes, putting stuff away. I have lots of help from my family, and that's very consistent. But this year, I had to sit down. I couldn't do any of it. And my family is so wonderful. By the time they all left, I thought, okay, go check the kitchen. And they had done like everything. And nobody complained about it that I know of. I couldn't help. I was in a lot of pain. And I thought, okay, usually when I sleep that night, get up the next day, my back pain's gone. The next day it was much better, but I was still in a bit of pain. And that bothered me a little bit. I mean, other than being in pain bothering me, it also bothered me that it didn't just go away. So that's important later on. But at any rate, had a great weekend. My husband was home. He takes time off, usually a week or 2 around Christmas and New Year's. And so we had a good time. Got on the scale the 30th, the day before New Year's Eve. And this is what it said. I was at 196.2. I was a full pound down. And part of me was really, really happy with being a full pound down. And you may be thinking, well, Rebecca, you just had Christmas, but that was only one day. And I've had single days before where I've been at a celebration or a birthday party and I've eaten dessert and I've eaten a lot of simple carbs or whatever, and I didn't go overboard on Christmas. So I was just kind of thinking, I wasn't sure why it was only a pound. And I want to be clear, I am happy with a pound. I am not dissing losing a pound, and I would have been happy with half a pound. As long as I'm losing, I am making progress. But it just didn't seem like it fit with what I had eaten and as active as I had been. That's all I'm saying, all right? And so my total loss at this point, 52.8 pounds. And again, very, very happy with that. So the following week, and this is why I bring up that I was giving it thought, because the following week, I kind of realized I'm eating larger portions. So previously, like when we were to have hamburgers for dinner, I would cut the hamburger in half and only eat half and a side and be very satisfied with that. And I realized, because we did have hamburgers, I think it was Friday or Saturday night, I didn't cut it in half. I cut it like 70%. And yeah, I was happy with that. I don't think I could have eaten a whole hamburger plus the side, which is usually vegetables. But I just noticed. And then if I'm looking at my calorie count, it is up a little bit. Not a lot, not enough to get, concerned about. And then I was walking because my back felt better. So I was walking and got on the scale on the 6th, which is my mother's birthday. And I was 93.9 pounds. I was down 2.3 pounds. And I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't make any sense to me, because I did have in my mind that I was eating more. And I don't know if I was more active, like just in my day-to-day stuff, like I don't remember what they call it. But the calories that you spend just doing your normal life. I was doing my walking, my interval walking, and my nighttime walking. So I'm down 2.3 pounds this week, 55.1 pounds total down. And I'm really happy with that. What I wasn't happy with was my back pain was back. And it was bad. It was worse than it's ever been in my entire life. I couldn't find a position in bed that was comfortable, on my back, on my side, laying on my stomach, because I had intended to catch up with my videos, but I was in excruciating pain. There was not a single chair in my house where I could sit where I wasn't in extreme pain. I tried the couch. I tried every chair, and none of it was comfortable. Walking was painful. Standing was painful. My husband said that I was
I'm sorry about that. My camera died, and I couldn't get it working again fast enough, and so I just went and grabbed my other camera, and then I realized I didn't have my mic on. So maybe you can hear me better. I don't even know if my mic is working right now. I'm assuming it is. Oh well, if it isn't, it isn't. But it's like, if I don't do this now, it's going to be another 3 weeks before I sit down and try to do this. So where was I? So I was whimpering in my sleep that week, and that lasted for a couple of days. And then on the third day, I know my dogs are making a noise. Let me shut the door. Okay, maybe that's better. I don't know. I'm a really bad YouTuber. I just really am. There's part of me that doesn't think I have any business having a YouTube channel if I can't do this regularly. So if you've stuck with me through all these haphazard, random postings, then I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Okay, back to my story. So by like Thursday or Friday, I woke up in the morning and it had not resolved, but like 85% of the pain was only on my right side, and my left side was like 80% better. And I thought, that's bizarre, and I don't think that's normal. And which meant that I could find places to sit that weren't extremely painful. I could sleep without being in a lot of pain. I could find a position, and every other step hurt instead of every single step when I was walking. And I did not do like, yeah, I'm in the bedroom. Is something wrong? Okay, that was another interruption. Okay, so where was I? So I thought that wasn't normal. And my husband didn't think that was normal either. So as far as the week went, I really don't think I ate very much because of the pain. My calorie count was kind of down. I wasn't walking like for exercise. I wasn't doing like my exercise walking. And so at any rate, so I got on the scale, which was then the 13th. That was the end of week 29. Got on the scale, and it said 191.5, which meant I lost 2.4 pounds. And I think even though I wasn't walking, I was in so much pain that week, I really wasn't eating either. And so I think that was kind of a weird week. I'm happy being down 2.4 pounds, don't get me wrong, but I just couldn't eat when I was in that much pain. So down 57.5 pounds total, which I'm thrilled with. I feel like I'm starting to really solidify being in Wonderland, right? So sometimes when you're like 199 and then you have a day with too many carbs or too much salt and you go bounce back up into the 200s, I'm really kind of feeling like I'm really solidifying being in Wonderland, and that feels awesome. That feels wonderful. So then that following week, my back pain was much better. It was way reduced. It's almost gone. And so I was walking a little bit more. I wasn't doing as much of my intense walking because that's like more jarring and it's more strenuous. So, but I was doing my walkings in the evening right after dinner, half an hour, and I love that walk. And this was also the week that I kind of noticed some food noise returning. And I think it took me a while to recognize it because it's not the old-fashioned food noise I had before being on a GLP-1. It was like before, when I thought about food, I had to go eat food or I couldn't think of anything else. And oh, you know what? Turn on my light. Maybe that would help too. I know this is such a horrible video. I apologize. But at any rate, so that week I kind of noticed, like when I'm scrolling through social media and somebody has a recipe, and before recently on a GLP-1, I would think, oh, that looks good. I'll save that recipe to eat sometime later. And I realized this particular week that when I saw something like that looked good, that looked like I wanted to eat it, my thought was, I'd like to eat that right now. Now, I didn't go and raid the pantry or the refrigerator. I didn't go find something to eat that would satisfy that. But the thought was slightly different. So, and I also noticed I was eating more. And I just wasn't quite as satisfied with smaller portions, and I was letting those portions creep up just a little bit. So when I got on the scale, it was 190.6. I was only down 0.9 pounds. Now total, I'm down 58.4, creeping closer to 60 pounds down. Very happy with that. But I'm a little concerned that I'm having so many weeks where, okay, let me explain. You know, I do a fast on Tuesdays, the day after my shot. And I typically lose on that fast day between Monday night and Wednesday morning, I typically lose like 1.2 to 1.5 pounds. It's different every week, but I'm now having weeks where that's the only thing I'm losing, and I've had another week where I'm not even maintaining that, even when I'm active, not in pain or whatever, and I don't have a holiday to blame. And so I'm wondering if I should go up to 7.5 at this point. I have one more pen left. So I took my second to the last pen on Monday the 19th. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to see how I do this next week. And then I have an appointment on Tuesday with my doctor, and I'll talk to her about it. Let me see how this next week goes. So that following week, I was very active. Back pain's gone. I was doing all the things. My calorie count was up a little bit. I had a day where I was over 1,600 calories, which is not normal for me. And then I had an over 1,300 calorie day. And so I'm having a lot more days where my calorie count is up. And I'm not starving, but I am getting these little food noises, and they're not that difficult. I'm just thinking that it's not working as well as it was. So Tuesday, which was yesterday, got on the scale and it said 189.9. I'm only down 0.7 pounds. And again, I'm very happy losing weight. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I am 59.1 pounds down total, which is almost 60 pounds. I'm ecstatic that this is working in my body so well. I'm concerned about the food noise. I'm concerned about eating more while my weight is going down. So technically my calorie count should go down if I want to continue to lose weight. And what else was I going to say? That 0.7 pounds means that I didn't even maintain the weight that I lost at the beginning of the week through the fast. So I had an appointment with my doctor yesterday morning and told her everything. Told her about the back pain, told her what's going on with that, told her what my weights have been, and told her that I was getting just a little bit of food noise. And I wasn't sure if she was going to say, why don't you try one more box of 5 and then we'll reevaluate. But she said, Rebecca, you have been on 5 milligrams a long time. And I realized I have been on 5 milligrams for 28 weeks. And that's 6.5 months. And so I don't see any shame in going up to 7.5. And she actually said, let's bump you up. She was very, very happy to bump me up. She feels like it's time, especially with the signals that I've been giving. So Monday night, this past Monday night, was my last shot of 5 milligrams. So I have this next week of 5 milligrams to go. And then she called in to my pharmacy to raise it up to 7.5. So hopefully I will get that pen this week because I am out. And then next week I will take my first 7.5. Now, as far as the back pain goes, the other reason why it's concerning, one, is because it hurts. If there's something wrong with my back, I need to know. And the other thing was, I had told myself, and I don't know if I shared this with you or not, but I've always told myself, once I lose 15 pounds, if I can get into Wonderland, I'm going to start doing more weight training, weight lifting, and resistance training. But if I have something wrong with my back, I don't want to be lifting heavy weights. And she absolutely agrees. And she says no. And she suggested we get an x-ray of my back and then go from there. So I haven't started working out yet in that way. I haven't started working out in that way yet. And hopefully I will get an x-ray of my back this week. And then, like she said, we'll go from there. So that's where I am. I'm almost 60 pounds down. This is the end of January, and I know I'm behind on editing and posting videos. I have no idea when you're finally going to see this because I'm a really bad YouTuber, but I appreciate you sticking with me and all the support that I have gotten. I can't tell you how much it means. So, thank you. and hopefully I won't be gone so long. Maybe next week if we're lucky. Okay, bye.